All right, everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're going deep into Brennan's playbook for personal branding in 2025.
Yeah, his stuff is always thought-provoking.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's one of the best out there, helping all those eco-conscious businesses, plant-based brands really make a difference.
Right, and what I love is he's got such a practical approach.
Yeah, and we've got a great mix of sources for this one. We pulled some insights from a recent video podcast he did.
I saw that one.
Yeah, super interesting. And then also some really surprising stuff from a speech he gave recently about success in general.
Oh, wow, I didn't know about that one. Okay.
So I think the mission here is really how do we take Brennan's advice and make it work for, anyone out there trying to build a personal brand.
Yeah, I think the timing is perfect for this, with everything changing so fast online.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Brennan really cuts through the noise and says, it's not about the platform.
It's about the content, always.
Content is king, but how you serve it up, that matters too, right? He uses this great analogy about Mexican food.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So, think about it. You've got tacos, burritos, enchiladas.
Mm-hmm.
They're all using kind of similar ingredients, right? Just packaged up in different ways.
Different vibes.
Exactly. So you could have, amazing vegan tacos.
Stop that.
And then serve it as, a burrito bowl.
Still delicious.
Totally. But maybe a taco would have had more impact,
Presentation matters.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's where choosing the right content format comes in. Brennan breaks down, I think it's 5 main ones.
Yep. Let's see. Live streaming, vlogging, talking head videos, video podcasting, and then faceless content.
Okay, so let's start with live streaming. Brennan sees this as having a really low barrier to entry, which I get in theory.
Yeah, it's just you and your phone, right?
But I don't know about you, but going live for me is like peak terror.
Oh, I feel that. There's just something about that red button.
Right. It's like the pressure. But Brennan has some good advice for getting over that fear.
Oh, yeah. What does he say?
Well, he basically says to treat those early live streams as practice. See those mistakes as reps.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the less scary it becomes.
Yeah.
He also talks about making your live streams rewatchable. Rewatchable.
Okay.
Yeah, because think about it. Not everyone's going to catch it live.
No.
So he says, start strong, have a hook, no dead air at the beginning.
So no awkward, hey, is this thing on?
Exactly. And then he says, acknowledge both your live viewers and those watching the replay.
Ooh, smart. Makes everyone feel included.
Right. All right, so next up, vlogging. Now, Brennan's very clear. Effective vlogging is not just filming your day.
Right. There needs to be a purpose.
Totally. He says it still needs structure, value, like any other content.
Yeah, it can't just be random, look what I had for lunch kind of stuff.
Well, unless your lunch is somehow super relevant to your brand, I guess.
True.
But he does say that vlogging is super engaging because of the movement, he calls them like re-engagement markers.
Interesting.
Yeah, like little things that keep people hooked.
Like jump cuts and stuff.
I think so, yeah. And then also that sense of intimacy you get with vlogging.
Right. It feels very personal.
Like you're right there with the person. All right, next up, talking head videos. These can be great, but Brennan says the content has got to be captivating.
Yeah, because visually it's not the most dynamic format.
Right, it's just you talking. So he says, use strong visuals to help.
Like B-roll, graphics, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Keep people engaged. But there are pros to talking head videos too.
Oh, yeah.
You can batch record them, have control over your setup.
Right, it's very controlled.
Yeah, perfect for people who like that kind of structured environment. Now, let's talk video podcasting.
Oh, I love a good video podcast.
Me too. It's my personal favorite. And Brennan's a big fan too, especially for that, conversational style.
Yeah, there's just something about that back and forth.
Yeah, right. It feels so natural. And Brennan says that human connection is something you just can't get with other formats.
It's true. There's an energy there.
But it's not without its challenges. Yeah. The equipment can be a hurdle.
Yeah, you need a decent camera, microphone, some editing skills.
It's a bit more of a production. But Brennan stresses finding joy in that process. If you're not enjoying it, it'll show.
Yeah, authenticity shines through.
Right. And last but not least, faceless content. This is huge on YouTube and stuff, but Brennan says...
Not for personal branding.
Exactly. It might get views, but it's not about building you.
Right. This whole deep dive is about putting yourself out there, your expertise.
So the key takeaway here, choose a format that lets you shine. Don't just chase what's trendy.
Be yourself. Be authentic.
And now, get ready for a twist.
Okay.
We're going to dive into Brennan's insights on success.
Yeah.
From that speech I mentioned.
Intrigued. Let's hear it.
Because Even though this wasn't specifically about content, it's all connected, trust me.
All right, I'm ready.
So one of the most powerful things he said was about not leaning your ladder against the wrong wall.
Ooh, that's good. What does he mean by that? He's saying, like, so many people, they achieve goals, but they're not the right goals.
Oh, I see. Like you get to the top of the ladder and you're like, wait, this isn't where I wanted to be.
Exactly. And then you feel lost, even though you're successful.
Okay, so how do we make sure we're leaning our ladders against the right wall, so to speak?
He says it starts with, like, really knowing your why. You know, what truly matters to you.
Yeah, what are you actually trying to achieve?
Right. Like, what impact do you want to make? What legacy are you building? Big questions.
Deep stuff. So once you've got that figured out, then it's like filtering opportunities through that lens, right?
Yeah, so you're not just chasing whatever's shiny or popular.
Okay, that makes sense. And this actually ties in with another one of his rules that I loved. The one about not needing to change others to win.
Oh, yeah, that's a good word.
It's so easy to get caught up in, like, trying to convince people to see things your way.
Or to get validation from everyone.
Yes. Waste so much energy on that. Trying to win over the haters.
And Brennan's like, forget the haters. Find your tribe.
The people who already get you. Love that.
Right. Focus on the people who are already resonating with your message.
And that actually reminds me of something he said in the video podcast about overcoming the fear of putting yourself out there.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
He talked about, like, shifting your focus from mistakes to reps.
Interesting.
Yeah, like, embrace those early stumbles as learning experiences.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about iterating, getting better over time.
Exactly. And that ties in with his whole thing about consistency fixing 90% of problems.
Oh, yeah, he loves that one. 1,000 days of boring work,
It's like showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it.
even when it's tough.
Yeah, and not expecting overnight success. Just putting in the work.
And speaking of tough, he also talked about, like, the importance of difficult conversations.
Oh, those are never fun.
No, but he sees them as essential for growth. Like, true success often lies on the other side of those conversations.
So it's about leaning into the discomfort.
Yeah, embracing vulnerability, asking for honest feedback, and then, like, actually using it to get better.
That's tough, but I see how it's valuable. It's like it takes courage to have those conversations.
Totally. And then this brings us back to something he mentioned about content. Remember when he was talking about replay value?
Oh yeah, creating content that people actually want to revisit and share.
He had some really practical tips for that, like starting strong, minimizing dead air, acknowledging both live viewers and the replay crew.
All good stuff. Easy to implement.
Right. And then don't forget that one piece of advice that was super specific to video podcasting.
Oh yeah, focusing on one thing per conversation.
Instead of trying to cover, like, a million things at once.
Makes it more digestible, more valuable.
Mhm.
All right, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about something that really hit home for me. Brendan's whole thing about letting go of expectations.
Oh, that's a good one. Especially when you're building a personal brand, it's so easy to get caught up in, like, striving for perfection.
Right, and he's like, perfectionism is a trap.
It'll hold you back from actually creating anything.
Totally. And he had this awesome line, I wrote it down. He said, peace begins when expectations end.
Wow.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
It's like a reminder to just let go of control.
Trust the process.
Yeah, enjoy the ride.
And speaking of letting go, he also talked about, like, reframing challenges.
Oh, yeah?
He sees challenges as opportunities to uncover where we're not free.
Wow, that's deep. I've never thought about it that way.
Right. It's like obstacles aren't roadblocks. They're actually showing us where we're holding ourselves back.
So instead of getting frustrated, we should be like, okay, what's this teaching me?
Exactly. What belief or pattern is this bringing to the surface?
Use it as fuel for growth.
Totally. And this ties into his rule about fear always giving bad advice.
Oh, yeah, that little voice of doubt.
He's like, don't listen to it. Create from a place of abundance and trust.
Easier said than done, sometimes. But good advice. Especially when you're putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
With your personal brand. It can feel scary.
For sure. But he's right. The world needs our voices.
He had another great quote about that, something like, you receive what you desire for others.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's like shifting your focus from personal gain to making a positive impact.
And that's when the real magic happens, right?
Totally. When you genuinely want to help others succeed, that energy comes back to you.
And that's what it's all about, right? Building a brand that's not just about you, but about the impact you want to make.
Leaving the world a little bit better than you found it.
So we've covered a lot of ground, content formats, these kind of big picture rules for success. But there's one more piece of Brennan's thinking I think kind of brings it all together.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm intrigued.
So in that video podcast we keep talking about, he goes into this whole idea of the shadow self and the
The
persona.
shadow self. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of drawing on some of Carl Jung's theories, so it gets a little deep,
That's all right. We can handle it.
but it's so relevant to personal branding.
Okay. I'm listening.
So the shadow self, think of it as like all the parts of ourselves we might not want to show the world.
The messy bits.
Yeah, exactly. Our flaws, insecurities, the stuff we usually try to hide.
So kind of like the hidden side of the moon.
Yeah, I like that analogy. And then you have the persona, which is like the mask we wear to be accepted, you
Yep.
know?
To fit in.
Right. It's the image we project to gain approval.
Okay, so how does this all connect to personal branding? Are we supposed to like reveal our shadow selves to everyone now?
Well, not necessarily. It's not about like airing all your dirty laundry or being intentionally provocative,
Got it.
but it's about recognizing that authenticity doesn't mean presenting a flawless facade.
So it's more about being, embracing those imperfections.
Exactly. And Brennan actually believes that the most impactful thought leaders, the ones who really stand out, they often embrace what he calls their correct contrarian side.
Correct. Contrarian? What's that?
It's like they're not afraid to challenge the status quo, offer a different perspective.
Oh, okay. So it's about having the courage to be different, to stand out, even if it means you might get some pushback.
Exactly. Which brings us back to that rule about being okay with being misunderstood.
Right, because sometimes the best ideas, the ones that really change things, they come from people who think outside the box.
Totally. So how do we apply all of this to creating content?
Yeah.
How do we infuse our work with that authenticity, with that correct contrarian thinking?
That's the million-dollar question.
Well, Brandon argues that a lot of creators, they fall into this trap of creating content that's not really aligned with who they are.
We see that happening a lot.
Yeah.
People trying to chase trends or imitate what's popular.
Right, and it ends up feeling kind of hollow. It's like they're wearing a costume that doesn't quite fit.
It's not genuine.
Exactly. And Brennan's advice is to really dig deep. Uncover those stories and experiences that have shaped you and then let that inform your content.
So it's about finding your unique voice, the one that really resonates with your soul.
And with your audience, the people who are meant to hear your message.
Because when you're being true to yourself, that's when you really connect.
And that brings us full circle,
Yeah.
back to the importance of content value.
Right, it's got to be about more than just making noise.
Exactly. Brennan believes the most successful creators are the ones who offer something truly valuable to their audience, whether it's knowledge, inspiration, entertainment.
It's about making a contribution.
And that contribution doesn't have to be like tangible or monetary.
Yeah, right. It can be something as simple as offering a new perspective,
Yeah.
sparking a conversation,
Yeah.
making someone feel seen.
Totally. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Brennan's 2025 playbook, what are the key takeaways? What should our listeners walk away with?
Yeah, what's the TLDR?
I'd say focus on three things. First, embrace your shadow self. Allow your true personality to shine through. Second, be a correct contrarian. Don't be afraid to challenge the norms and offer a unique perspective. And third, create content that's aligned with your authentic self and offers genuine value to your audience.
Awesome advice. And I would add, don't forget to have fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Building a personal brand, it should be enjoyable. It's a journey, not a destination.
So true.
Well, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, some inspiration to level up your personal brand in 2025.
We'd love to hear what resonated with you. What are your biggest takeaways from Brennan's insights? What challenges are you facing? Share your thoughts and connect with us on social media.
And until next time, keep diving